Welcome back, everybody, to another Friday night open mic. Join you a minute after the intro and our sponsors.
95 Ocean, you have an open mic. Oh, 95 Ocean, open mic. Oh, 95 Ocean.
What's going on, guys? No Can Smelling Salts and Counterculture have teamed up. This stuff is a pick-me-up. When it's late at night and there's not an Ultima in sight, you hit this. You're piled up the C4s on your passenger side. The roller dogs are burning over there. You don't need that. You need the No Can Smelling Salts. When you're getting ready to go to the gym after a long night shift, you hit this in the morning and you feel better. Guaranteed results. Use code CC10 for 10% off for Counterculture. This is what you need. No Can Smelling Salt.
What's up, everybody? As you guys know, we teamed up with Tasty Gains, Counterculture. The entire network has teamed up with them. They're a big supporter of ours, but we're a big advocate of them. You know, we're here on the road. You can have these creatine gummies. You don't have to pack the creatine powder and everything. You can eat a gummy, go out, fruit snack, and you can. One gummy is 1 gram. You can have up to 5 a day. Look, I mean, another one. You can have them whenever you want, and they're fucking delicious.
Same thing with their pre-workout, the Tasty Gains pre-workout. Simple. It's in a gummy as well. You don't have to chunk down energy drinks and be bloated. Get sick of buying them. One container of one pre-workout gummy. Just as easy.
Yeah, and for guys like us that are always on the road doing something, these are super convenient. I love this company, and this is all we need now. We don't need any more of that powdered bullshit. So go to tastygains.com. Show them some love. What's up, gents?
Yo.
That intro goes hard.
I was gonna say, you think at any point we're gonna have to turn that intro off? Because we're like grassroots right now, so we can get away with dumb shit like that. But like eventually, like my son was in here once when I was doing an open mic, and I had to like turn my computer down.
I don't think we're ever gonna be having sons listen at that age. So
It sounds like an intro to like a Rob Zombie music video. I kind of dig it.
It's actually like Long Beach, California, female cop getting piped down.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, John, I'm not even going to try and say your last name, Guarnieri.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah,
All right,
you got
cool.
it.
The host of Spear Talk podcast. I've never even really talked to you before, just text.
Yeah, it's well, I gotta thank Justin for helping me get onboarded this morning through like the RSS feed and the Signal chat, and I was telling him I wasn't really aware of you guys until the Tim Kennedy stuff started coming through, and then I have friends in that world, and I'll preface this by saying every interaction I've had with Tim Kennedy, he's been a sweetheart, he's been a professional, he's been awesome coming to shows, he's been great. I don't know. I'm not a veteran, so I don't know any of that stuff you guys are talking about per se. But what I found interesting in your conversations and how you guys handle that is that I fell in love with your sense of accountability and the open discussions you guys were having. And that's why when I sent the message out to you guys on Instagram and you guys reached back out, I was like, this is a place where I feel like we can have these conversations, whether it's the George Floyd stuff, Las Vegas shooting, all this stuff that's happening in this space we're in. I want to be here, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to be out here.
What's a little bit of your background? I mean, you don't have to go full on, but like...
So I went to military college at Norwich University, did 4 years Navy ROTC. I wanted to be on a submarine sophomore year. I was getting ready to sign the papers to commission. My dad got sick, got into a coma. And then my biggest worry was if I were to be deployed somewhere and I'd help take care of my mom or sisters, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my 4 years here. Love the ROTC stuff, but maybe I'll do some federal stuff. Junior year, I started the process for Secret Service. And then when I graduated, did all the polygraph, all that bullshit. And then I did that for almost 8 years. I went private in 2014. And now I'm the chief operating officer for a private security firm that tours the world doing security for bands and celebrities.
Is that your company? Do you own it or no?
Me and my partner do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get that gig?
I met him in 2012 when he was doing security for Charlie Sheen in DC after he got fired off of that TV show 2.5 Men or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were at some private thing. I saw him in the corner standing there, and I knew what he was there for. And I went over there and go, "Hey, man, just how you doing and stuff." We hit it off, and I go, "Hey, if I get burnt out here, because we're about to gear up for the second campaign with Romney and Obama, and so that as that's happening, I'm actually going through divorce as well, and so I still love what I did. That last campaign year, I was home 19 days, and I got kind of burnt out on the politics of the government stuff, which oddly enough, in the entertainment industry, the politics are just as stupid. The only difference is I'm my own boss. And so I answered to myself and my partner, Chris. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
Man, so you run security for, I mean, I know the big ones, Shinedown.
Shinedown, Motley Crue, Nickelback, Def Leppard, stuff with Morgan Wallen, Bailey Zimmerman, a lot of bands throughout the years, but my big ones I focus on now are Shinedown, Motley Crue, and Nickelback.
I arrested a crackhead last week, so.
I mean, that's
Mike eats peanuts in his fucking.
Yeah, I didn't do anything last week. I drove. To
Orlando.
Man,
we're stoked to have you on, man. I mean, you bring another. Obviously, your background meets ours, and you know what you're doing now is really interesting. But we don't have we've never had like a private security side like podcast really, or anybody running with us, that knows that side of the industry, because it's totally different. Your qualifications obviously transfer over, but
right. But
go ahead.
But to your point, though, it's one of those things where a lot of my work goes through like the advancing and obviously dealing with local security, law enforcement, if I'm overseas, military and stuff like that. But it's my days are great when my counterpart, law enforcement, will do all security meetings. Is like people leave a show and they're safe. There's a couple of medical calls, maybe dehydration, some rolled ankles. But I take pride in the fact that as much as I can do to control a crowd where law enforcement doesn't have to get involved, that's the best bet. And so it's like something when you see these people, like a lot of times when you're backstage, a lot of tours, I'm going to say 90% are not, they don't want law enforcement backstage. Now, that doesn't mean the artists are doing drugs or doing any questionable things. It's more of a thing where it's like the venues, oddly enough, a lot of promoters. Well, I mean, in a sense, some bands it does, but in a sense of, so when I'm back there, we want law enforcement always back there. Like all my guys, whether it's Motley Crue or Shinedown, Nickelback, so pro law enforcement. It's like it's just another sense of security and layer, and someone seeing in uniform or plain clothes. And it's one of those things where it's like I love that relationship, having come from that background, and I think that's vital, especially in my world, to maintain that. And if anyone's offended by seeing law enforcement backstage or outside a venue, or God forbid we do a bomb sweep and the canines are out there for a couple hours just the doors, and people get offended by that, like part of me is like, I don't give a fuck, but I'm also like, we live in a culture where law enforcement is so shat on and ridiculed and pushed down, where, man, it's just heartening. And so I try to go out of my way to make sure that, hey, I want the law enforcement to take care of backstage. I want them feeling like they can come through here and run the show, because it's their town, it's their city, it's their state. And the fact that some people don't want to backstage there kind of always irks me.
Yeah, and I've been an advocate of this. It's a double-edged sword, not a double-edged sword, but I go both ways. First off, private details they take a special kind of officer. That detail is fluid, and you need to respond accordingly. So if you're going to go to a concert, and you're in perimeter and you're watching the show, you can't be fucking making weed arrests, right? It is what it is. You have to, what do you call that? Reading the room?
Yeah, read the room.
So, but on the flip side, I have worked gigs like House of Blues and stuff, and you're right. It's the venue. It's not because they blanket it for like the artist. Like they're just like, hey, law enforcement, we don't want them back here. It's not the artist.
It's the promoter. It's the venue.
But
I find it interesting that you worked at last detail at Planet Hollywood, and then you just informed us you go both ways. I think that's pretty.
Not Planet Hollywood.
Whatever the fuck your gay fucking thing. All of a sudden now you're going both ways.
No, I'm saying like But
ever since your Red concert.
I don't agree with people saying the cops can't go somewhere unless shots ring off and then they want the cops back there and they're like, get back there now. Like, but you can't have cops that are like, I'm coming back there. It's just, it has to be like you said, John, like a mutual respect where like, hey, don't go where you're not welcome, but also you don't tell me I can't go back
It
there.
sounds
either.
like the people he represents, though, are mostly cop friendly. It sounds like they would.
Yeah,
I would guess they're cop friendly people.
Anytime we do a festival, there's like the mounted police or those type of units that come out there. Like I'll go out of my way, especially with my background, just to reach out to local sheriff's offices or people I know in that community to say, hey, come out to the show. And just all these guys love that. They love that sense of layer of protection and security of someone who knows what they're doing, knows the streets, knows the community, knows the people that the people are attending the show in. And it's one of those things where it's like, again, I love it backstage. I love shooting the shit with them and stuff. And sometimes you come across like the newer, like maybe not rookies, but like they get detailed there to some of these big venues, and not in the sense of awestruck, but it's a weird sense of it's different than being chasing someone down an alley or pulling someone over in a cop car. Now you're dealing with 12 to 20,000 people in a room where a situation you might see it 1 a.m. on a park bench with two people altercating, you could see that at a beer stand. It's like your reaction and how you perceive that the deal with that situation is much different.
Yeah.
And but I love it.
Who controls the operations plan? Do you, as the security guy, do you control law enforcement, or do they kind of tell you
so
what's
basically
gonna happen?
a venue will be like, hey, we do the advance. I'm like, hey, I need at least 6 uniform officers. I want a couple of units out front. And obviously someone backstage by the buses, or God forbid there's a situation. I need to know what car we're getting into and who we're following out of this place. And it's all about communication. It's all about what you need. Sometimes the venues will always be like, I don't know if we normally don't allow, if you guys allow law enforcement back here, they might think they're allowed next show. I was like, well, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
That's your community you're harboring. If it works, it works. But if these guys want to cut through backstage and go to catering and grab a soda or shoot the shit in the hallway, I'm all about it.
It's just it's the time old tale. It's the time old tale of, hey, let's give the cops free food, and then you have 89 cop cars in your drive-thru, or let's give the cops free car washes, and then you got 89 cops lining up every day to wash their car. And that's why I say it takes a specific, and that's why I like how details kind of like the coordinator on the law enforcement side will kind of hand pick the cops that he wants to work, because he knows they're not going to blow it. Hey, if at one point you want to go back there and grab a soda and see what you can see, but don't be back there all fucking night. And
it's 9 times out of 10, like when officers are back there, then we're walking the stage, or these guys I'll introduce all the guys to the police, and 9 times out of 10, they're like, man, we can't take pictures. And then I'll be like, dude, stop being a bitch. Like, I'm not going to rat you out. Like, maybe don't post it in uniform if you don't want to do that. But like, we're all human back here. We're all doing something in this moment. So just enjoy it.
Nice. So what's you're in Europe right now?
I just got back from Prague and London.
Ooh, you still?
So I'm back. I'm in Massachusetts. Yeah, where I live.
Ooh, okay. Do you have regular gigs always lined up, or?
Yeah. So my schedule, which is much different than government, is that I know my 2 years out in advance based on tours. The only thing that could dictate that if a new client comes in for onboarding or promo, or like random stuff pops up, like issues with stalkers or death threat type stuff, but like not really. I know what I'm doing the rest of the year.
Nice. Are you do you best way to ask this, or not, like, are they contracts like per annual contracts, or do you take them as they come?
So I've been with Shinedown for 8 years, Nickelback for 10, and Motley Crue for the last 4, and that it doesn't really change. I mean, contracting it's specific enough, but it's one of those things where if you have a company, if I have to step away for something with a family situation or something else, someone else in my company can step forward and kind of take my spot. But yeah, it's just one of those things where they're open contracts. If you're doing your job, you have your job. You're not really tied per se if you sign a contract, you should fill a contract. But all the ones I work with are open contracts where, I mean, I as long as I do my job, I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah, I say this like, hey man, when you were at Rockville, you should have fucking head up with it. We would have, but you're probably busy as hell when you get in. You get in and come out.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I mean, now that I know that, like, yeah, we'll be down in Florida again though. But yeah, stuff like that where I always try and make time. I want to be. I want if I'm going to have invite people out there because it is added stress. If you have family or friends out there, like you have that one friend that comes out like, "Fuck, man, don't drink too much." Like don't make me work on your behalf. But like when you invite people out there, it's cool to see that world of it, especially if they're like law enforcement, military guys or active duty or still working. It's like it's cool to see them. I mean, you're never off duty, right? So, but it's when you can be in those situations where you be your family and hanging out and shooting the shit. And it's against someone else in the crowd I know I could trust. If God forbid somebody does break like shit, there's someone else there that can help lead from the front.
Yeah, or at worst case, we can meet you at a Chili's at midnight. You know, if you can break
Done.
away.
Karaoke. Yeah, done.
Well, I mean, we had an interesting week. Are we? Hey, Mike, are we filming this
We're gonna,
before
yeah, we're gonna
Wednesday?
have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you want to do that? We haven't filmed. We have to drop a counterculture episode on Monday. Or Wednesday. We got nothing.
So I can ask you guys, because you guys are so crazy busy with all your podcasts on the Counterculture Network. It's like, how do you guys micromanage the time with your careers and family and stuff like that? Because it seems like you're so active, and obviously it's working because your thing's growing. It kind of blows my mind where I'm like, you guys are always out there doing something, whether it's training or whatever it is, the podcasting, your lives. It's like, how do you guys kind of micromanage that aspect of all this?
Well, I'm done.
Well, if you watch Tyler or Heather's video from earlier today, apparently Tyler's got something growing.
Shut the fuck up.
I retired. I retired back in September, so and I'm pretty much free, other than normal shit. But this is actually, this is a lot of self motivation that I'm. As cops, I don't know how Tyler feels. He's done both for longer, but cop world's easy. You fucking listen to the radio. They tell you where to go. You go do it, and you come back, and you keep over and over. Now it's like having to be self motivated. It's a lot of work. I mean, I've been over in Orlando, back and forth. Like, it's an hour and 30-minute drive, so I'm over there 2-3 times a week now, back and forth, back. But I mean, I guess the easiest way I look at it is this is a business that only grows if you make it grow. You have to work hard. You have to work. We're not making any money. We're just doing this to grow the business. So that's kind of where we're at with that. But and I think Tyler just put his 2 weeks in, right?
Yeah. It became too much with the Paraline, the Anti-Hero podcast, and then rolling out this media company. Like it's just. I make enough to where I can step away from. I'm still going to stay part-time so I can keep my credentials and stuff. But as far as, this me and Mike were just talking, we're Counterculture. We're going to have a business plan drawn up in the next couple of weeks and a budget that we need for the rest of the year, and then start rocking and rolling. Because we trying
to take over. Yeah, we're trying to.
We have shows that are in-house Counterculture shows that we produce and that we're in. But we have shows that we produce, but we're not in. And then we have our auxiliary shows that are under our umbrella, like Spear Talk would be. Like, you're completely independent. You do all your own work. You're just with us for, added benefit for everybody. Like, we benefit from you being with us.
But as Counterculture, we're trying to get something every day, like a live show and a podcast coming out every day under Counterculture itself. And then, like I said, everybody else has their own. I have my own show. You have your own show. He has Anti-Hero. Justin has his own show. But then as Counterculture, we want to have something going out every day of the week, like Monday through Friday, some type of live or recorded episode is dumping, so that every day people are seeing Counterculture through this network.
Have you found it's been difficult kind of to like balance like how social media is and finding this algorithm, whether it exists or not? I don't really buy into that per se, but it is interesting how this stuff is always changing. Where it's frustrating as a creator, as someone who's trying to make, because all of us will do episodes we think are going to be massive, and then maybe they're not, and then how it hits and how people react to it. It's such a fascinating thing where we have to abide by these certain rules when the people in charge don't give a fuck about us or the actual rules themselves. They just have something they can policy and to police people like us that are trying to create cool original content, and you just get fucking hammered.
Yeah, I mean, we had one that went really. That kind of took us. That our first big break was our buddy came on and told his story. He got fucked over. He had to do some jail time. He got cleared. It was a good shoot, but the state attorney was trying to fry him and the whole story. And he called me up right before he dropped it. He goes, "Hey man, you should do like my mug shot and say cop charged with murder." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Because it was him. I'm like, "You sure you
Yeah.
want that?" He's like, "Yeah, man, it'll fucking blow." Dude, it went through the roof. And I realized because our thumbnail, although we try to be catchy and grabby, I try with counterculture to be very realistic. Who's on the thumbnail is who's going to be in there.
Yeah.
What the topic is what we are going to be talking about. But cop charged with murder fucking was that clickbaity thing. And it just took our YouTube to the next level. So, but I never would have thought in a million years that episode would have been it. I thought one of the hilarious ones we all cut where we're all laughing.
I think and on the Instagram side, I think the biggest thing I've noticed is interaction with people. It sucks. I mean, I don't say it sucks. It's busy for me to answer hundreds of messages, but I do it. And I've built that following of people that know that, hey, this dude isn't just gonna like ignore me. He's gonna reach back out, and I have the time to do it. So it's like if I really want to be in a social media atmosphere, staying in the algorithm and getting your stuff shared and commented on means, oh, that dude doesn't ever respond. He just posts stuff. He's never gonna. Or versus, sharing the link for a GoFundMe or answering a question about law enforcement. That's where I think keeps me in the algorithm and then helps this business because then I can get people to see, hey, we got another spin on things, and so it's a lot of work.
It's like even answering, like responding to like the haters too, where people that are ignorant, where it's like you sometimes you got to eat crow and do it. I mean, sometimes I go off the handle because someone's just completely ignorant, it's foolish, but I do know that when you respond, people see you as a real human being, as opposed to some conglomerate that doesn't give a fuck about their time. The people that spend watching these podcasts, whether it's 15 minutes or 3 hours a week, it's still their time they're giving to your content. And I feel like at the minute I don't respond or whatever, I feel like I've let them down.
That and like if I'm asking you to buy my shit. Like I'm asking you to buy my hat, buy my shirt, buy my patch, And if they're like, this fucking dude don't answer my DMs, I've DM'd him 30 times and he doesn't respond. And so I try to comment when I can. Comments is hard at this point for me to keep up in the comments. I'll go in there and stir the pot and find one that's negative and kind of get it going. But DMs, I will answer every message. I'll always respond. Guys want advice or whatever.
I treat this whole thing like a band. So I played in bands all the way up until when I joined the Army. And I was 16 through 19. So I was very I was like a sponge learning how like what worked and what didn't. And I realized like branding for a band is key. When you're grassroots, unsigned, just signed, like branding is key. People have to go and see it, not really remember what they heard, but I like what I saw. That was fucking, they were all together. And so branding and then, being punk rock, like Mike talked about it today. We were talking about expanding counterculture, and I get kind of like out there, like what's, Anti-Heroes got all the bells and whistles, and he was like, hey, man, we're like, we're brand new. We've got who we got because they like our stuff. We don't have to impress anybody. So I was like, but so we try to be very real. I couldn't go into Anti-Heroes DMs right now and even try and catch up. It's just impossible. But where we are at with counterculture, I respond to everybody in counterculture. Anti-hero is just it's a nightmare of an inbox.
It's almost one of those things you have to, it's kind of like my email. I used to make sure my email on my phone had 0. There was never a red dot. And at some point I let that slide and now there's 2 billion. And that's how I feel about the DMs. If I ever let them slide and don't answer it, I feel like that's just it's like anything else. It's the door to go, all right, never mind. I'm not responding anymore. I mean, my dumbass even checks the other area where the ones that don't even notify you come in and make sure
the spam is the best. I love it when people want to help me boost my algorithm.
Oh yeah, that's how I buy my followers. They're spam DMs.
But yeah,
Jerry Worms.
How long you been doing podcasting, John?
I started when the world shut down in March of 2020.
Yeah, that's probably the best time to start. You got a lot of
time. It's one of those things where like with my job, like I love my favorite part of the job outside the actual security aspect is seeing friends in different cities and towns and countries and people I've met over the years in my profession. I kind of lost. I was afraid that I was going to lose sight of that human connection, and so I just started the podcast, just basically talking to my friends, whether it's game wardens or conservationists or military guys, and martial artists and stuff like that. And then I was like, man, this is actually kind of fun because it allows me to get back into reading again if they drop to do a book or research and stuff like that, which makes this thing fun for me because I kind of jump around with guests just so I can kind of keep my research and sanity kind of in check. If I get too down the rabbit hole with back-to-back military people, I start to get like, I can only talk to military people. And so stuff like that. But like, it's one of those things where I had so many friends that wanted to start one that did it. And then after 6 months, like, I can't fucking do this. It takes too much work. Kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's
a
just
lot.
like, you have to put if you want to do this, you have to fucking believe it. The sweat equity that goes into this stuff, you have to feel good about it. The minute one day I'm like, man, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to talk to this person, even though I booked the interview, and I'm like, I don't want to become that person. Like, I'm not going to do it if I don't love it. And
Yeah.
communicating is the best way to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Let me shout out that Pekka pills that you just shared. DM me. I don't have a hat or a shirt, but I have an autographed Jerry Worms card. You're the first person to bring him up tonight. So if you respond that Pekka pills, DM me. I'll get you this card out in the mail tomorrow.
Pekka pills. You got a lot of Pekka pills in your DMs.
Pekka pills, yeah. I do.
So John, I'm assuming the industry you're in, when COVID hit, you got, there was no work for you.
Yeah, the touring aspect changed. I mean, I still did 50 shows with Shinedown. We did the hybrid drive-in theaters that first year. But what popped off, the California riot stuff with like the George Floyd and like all that stuff that happened for like a year. I have a bunch of clients.
Live shows there.
Yeah,
you're out in the street doing live shows.
Yeah, protesting and smashing cop cars.
Kneel on his neck.
Yeah, and so we basically got a lot of work with like these high influential people that were all about the protests, but because these people were starting to come into their neighborhoods, they didn't want that to happen. Which again, the hypocrisy there.
Yeah.
But so I mean, you kind of create a new piece of the pie. Like you just kind of adapt and evolve. I started doing a lot more, getting back into the training aspect, everything from bloodborne pathogens to workplace violence training and stuff. So I just kind of adapted, and it's one of those things where you could just die on the vine. And I do a lot of people in the industry that just change career paths because they're either older or just getting started, and this is the terrible time to jump in. But I don't know. It's like, again, like anything, it takes hard work. If you can't adapt, you're going to die. And I think so many people that had potential or could actually make a difference in my industry they got scared. They didn't want to do it. They didn't want to put in this extra trade to make it work. And, but whatever.
Man. All right. So what's, I'm assuming most of the clients that you work with are, I don't want to say older, but they're less like rock starry.
Yeah. So I mean, the average band age is like is 39 to, I would say 62, 63. And, but no one's partying. No one's, I mean, I work with country singers and people like that are young kids that think the world is just a Wild West still. But yeah, I mean, I don't have to deal with any spousal stuff. I don't have to deal with crazy stepkids showing up. I don't have to deal with party and drink. No one drinks. Now it's just a lot of the stuff I deal with now is more of the stalker type person, the death threat type stuff. But again, it's the actual show is not an issue. It's always just the people that go to the show that become the issue.
Do you guys run your own intel? You have an intel?
Yeah, we have people that can monitor social media, all the chat groups, like all that stuff like there. And then if we have to kick it up a notch, which we had to do recently with some death threat stuff, I loop in some old friends of mine to kind of do some stuff like that. But we're also a full licensed PI firm, and so we're able to kind of do some stuff on our own there.
Oh shit! Go on the offensive.
Yeah,
hit that motherfucker before he hits you.
Yeah, but the people are so weird. Like I was talking to somebody the other day and about they want to become a law enforcement officer, and they're like, well, the father is a state trooper in Massachusetts, and the kid is like about to graduate college. He wants to do it, but he's just like, and talking to his dad, he's just like, man, it's back 20, 30 years ago. You couldn't get enough people. You could have to cut people away who wanted to serve this country, whether it's law enforcement, military. But the way the media is, it just kind of makes you tell you that if you become a cop, you're going to be targeted. You're going to be doxxed. All this stuff that comes out with this stuff. It's like it's saddened to me that there's men and women out there that deserve to be cops, that want to be cops, that are watching the media and all this rhetoric and just feeling that they can't do what they want to do. And it's just like with you guys, it's like the law enforcement stuff is so fucking wild today. And I just I couldn't even imagine dealing with the red tape and the bullshit.
But it's a double wild because those same guys you're talking about that were getting turned away and wanted to do it so bad, we don't have those people anymore. We got cops signing up and doing the job, but they're not in it for the same reason. So you have a worse society,
right?
Bigger problems, and then a generation of cops now that are not built the same.
Cops.
They didn't drink from the hose. They didn't get their ass beat with a fucking stick when they were kids. Like,
right.
They'd never been in a fist fight, and all they know is the internet, their phone, and Call of Duty. And the first time they're going to get in a fist fight is like on the street in the middle of an event, and they're not ready for it. So it is a shitstorm for law.
Like I remember growing up, like you would do like the local police chief or the sergeant, and he was a grizzled Vietnam vet. He looked like he's been through war and hell, smile on his face, did his job. And then those same type of people being promoted today, whether they deserved it or not, the optics of that, I look at them and go, man, you're 31 years old. You're a police chief. Like, I'm not taking away your training and maybe you've earned it, but like, it just seems like we've chased off people early with the pandemic stuff. We chased off people that could have put more time in. They went through some stuff. And it's just super disheartening because like growing up, I did all the stick fights. I played Cop and Robbers. I got hit with rock. We played tree fort rocks and all this stuff.
Yeah, we
and
threw
kids
fucking
these
rocks
days
at each
now,
other. We threw rocks at each other.
And kids these now, you look at some of these veterans, some of these military people jumping in, or law enforcement, or like even firefighters. You're like, man, are you chasing a pension, or just because the standards are lowered so much that now you become a firefighter, even though you can't drag your like fat ass out of a burning building itself?
DEI had a huge problem to do with that, and I think that was a little bigger up north in like the Democratic areas. DEI, you guys deal with it up there. DEI is a big problem. The 30 by 30 thing is a huge problem. I mean, that's a disaster too. And then we can't even get men who are inherently stronger and more physically capable by nature. We can't even find them. There's not good men, and then we're trying to push a 30% women, which is. You don't push things just for numbers.
It's like if you're in a situation, you're in a domestic or a burning building, and the call goes out. I don't care if you're gay, straight, black, white. I don't even care if you're in a wheelchair or an alien. I want to know that when I make this call, the right person is going to come in there and fix the situation. It's like you see these stories every day now where cops are getting beat up or all this stuff where it's like, well, why is that person even a cop to begin with? Like.
I got in a big pissing match because I posted a 400-pound black dude that Grady Judd hired over in Polk County, and I did a poll, and I think the poll numbers were low because people were embarrassed to say it, but 25% of the people that voted in this poll, over 1,000 votes, said that they would have that fat sloppy dude come to work just to fill a spot so they could have a vacation day here and there and get time off.
Mike, was that from the department or was that from somebody else? Like, who had that conversation with you?
It was somebody. No, this was a different guy. People from the department contacted me and said that massive fat piece of garbage got no psych, no physical, and a $20,000 sign-on bonus just the lateral to that agency. That's what Grady Judd's doing. So everybody gets Grady, and Grady's great. He's not great. He shits on TRT, and he hires anybody, and they're bypassing the psych and the physical now, and you can just get on. So guys from the agency were telling me that, but a different guy from a different agency was arguing with me that it's too far broken, it's too far gone. I'd rather have that guy get hired who's a fat slob just so I can get a day off. And I'm saying to this dude, I'm like, you want your wife and kids to be relying on that guy, or you on your day off to be relying on that guy to come save you?
Hey, but when you can't get a day off, your wife gets pissed. So
yeah, but that's fine. But dude, we can't look. So my instant response to everyone who has some slick shit to say is, I pray to God the military never falls to this standard, because if we follow that standard in the military, we might as well just bring China over now and let them have it, because
We have.
well,
talking
I'm talking about physically. We can't defend our country if we can't defend our streets as it is. And now you're going to say we'll just hire anybody.
I know
Anybody with a pulse.
special operations is, from what I hear, just like they cannot fill slots.
I
Every
bet.
year it's getting worse and worse.
Everybody's
and worse.
weaker and weaker. Our fucking country sucks, dude. Everybody's a pussy.
That's the one thing Tim Kennedy did say on Joe Rogan. Is he was like, he's like, there's statistically you looking at the fact that most kids are fat now. Like,
Look at SWAT.
Like, it's okay to be fat at 40.
Look at SWAT. Look at the SWAT teams. Dude, I'm done. I'm done filtered. My SWAT team is basically just sticking people on the team now. You got a kid that makes a team that's like fucking 5'9", 145 pounds. That motherfucker can't do nothing. And now it's just to fill numbers, get a slot, call yourself tier 1, try to get to tier 1. It's happening throughout. It's happening throughout. DEI, 30 by 30, everybody gets a trophy. Now it's happening in the police world, where every day, what do we break down? Some fucked up video that cops didn't do their job, don't know how to do their job, can't do their job, and it's just getting worse. And people are now going, well, I really want a day off, so just hire fucking 20 more of them so I can take a day off. Like, pretty soon,
How do you
not gonna have
enjoy
anywhere to
that
go.
day off? How do you?
Where are you
going
gonna
to
go?
Off?
You're gonna go get robbed. You're gonna get fucking shot. Like, where are you gonna go?
But how do you even enjoy your day off if you're in that position, Mike, where I'm gonna get tomorrow off, but this person's not qualified? Like, back of my mind would be like, fuck, I feel like I'm letting my community down by allowing this
They don't care
person
anymore.
to cover my. It's like, what turns
Cops-
it around?
Cops don't care. It's a bad road we're going down. It's a bad road. Just look at the videos. Every single day, there's a new video of some cop doing some dumb shit, getting their ass whooped, shooting somebody that doesn't need to be shot. And then you start pushing like training and this, and then it's that. Everybody's got an excuse.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not doing it anymore. I'm really
I
happy.
mean, I had to get out. Like, I wasn't. I love being a cop. Don't get me wrong, dude.
I did too.
love it.
I loved it, man. I
I
fucking
love
loved it.
going and actually helping somebody and making someone's day, or at least the worst day of their life. Because to them, like, if you walked up to your car and it was either A, gone, or B, your window was smashed out, your fucking iPad and shit was gone. That's the worst day of your year. Easy.
Correct.
And it's the seventh call of my day. But
Right.
being able to like even when you let someone know, like, hey, when you make them feel, hey, it's just property, and this happens to 45 people a day in the city. Like, it's not just, don't feel like it's God shitting on you. This happens. And
Right.
like, kind of like, or you go to an accident and everybody's fucking screaming at each other. And you tell everybody, like, it's an accident. You think he really meant to do this to you? I'm like, well, no. I'm like, it's a car accident. Relax. No one's hurt. Thank God. You're driving fucking 2-ton killing machines around and you hit each other and no one's hurt. Like, but.
And that's like location based. You guys are really busy, but see, I think of all the shitty calls, there's one that stands out. That's a property. I remember going to this Mexican dude's house. I can't get enough saying the story. He's fucking lawn trailers cleaned out by some fucking crackhead, cleaned out. And he looks at me and he's like, "Sir, how do I pay my bills tomorrow? Like, how do I pay my rent?"
Right.
And you're looking at this guy and you're like, I want to, like, I get like violent crimes. You want to, pedophiles and fucking murder.
Yeah.
But when you look at this poor dude and he's like, he got 3 kids, he's busting his ass. He gets up at fucking 4 a.m., works till fucking 7 p.m. every day, and his lawn trailer's busted open, and all his riding lawnmowers are gone, all his shit's gone. And he's like, "What, sir? What do I do?" And I'm like,
That's my guy right there, my boy Joe. He owns a lawn company.
"Yeah,
And
we
when
cut,
his
we
shit
caught,
gets
so
stolen, he
we
gets
just hired
pissed
Joe." Yeah, so
He gets
and
pissed
everybody
off.
says, it's just a lawnmower, it's just a weed eater, and you leave that call. It's not just it's
Yeah.
not.
It's
Somebody's
their
fucking-
livelihood. It's their life. Yes.
And that comes back to drugs, because then the argument is, oh, drugs, who cares about drug arrest? Because it's a big circle. But the bottom line is, without men, and I say that man out there busting people up and taking them to jail, the whole system falls. Everything goes and we're done. Tough men, because weak men create weak times. And that's right. We're in that phase right now of weak men in leadership at agencies that have created very weak time with a weak administration in the White House. The last 4 years before this, we're coming out of a very weak time in America.
Yeah. It's like, when you say weak, it's like, I look at a strong man who can be emotional when he can be. You can
Yes.
be caring, compassionate, loving. But when the time is fucking
He
batshit
will
crazy,
fuck you
I
up.
want that guy that will fucking get shot 10 times and keep
Yep,
going forward to
yep.
do his fucking
And
thing.
they're out there. I worked with guys like that. One of my best friends, Christian Matheson, dude was just he's got money. He didn't need to do the job. He fucking did it every day, even
Yep.
as a lieutenant. As a lieutenant, that busted his ass every day, every single day, and he was always because this is what's right. This is what I get paid to do. I could go sit under a tree. That's not what I'm going to do. And that was
Right.
that was my best friend. That was the guy I worked with, and I had that same mentality. Like even when I made sergeant, I'm like, I'm not fucking stopping. You're not going to stop me from taking people to jail. Like
Yeah.
they need to go.
Have you
But-
found that? So to kind of circle back to like the transition from retirement to the podcasting, how are you still able to kind of get that bump of energy of being a cop into kind of the world now with the podcasting? Is there a way to get whether it's training or doing what is like? How are you able to kind of like facilitate that type of action and emotion and what you used to do into today, where you don't feel like you're kind of bummed out?
Well, on Friday nights, we definitely need that fucking bump. I'm not gonna lie. Mike loves having these at the end of the fucking week at 9 p.m. on a Friday.
No, this was planned before Mike even was involved in counterculture. The fuck, this was you and Reagan's fucking deal.
We
And then he
just-
fucking quit. He's home fucking sleeping. He don't give a fuck about
And
that.
he's on Central Time Zone, so it's like 8 o'clock for him.
We could do 8 o'clock. I mean, move it up to 8 o'clock. I wouldn't have
No,
made it.
I mean, it's I think we take the same passion that we had. I mean, I can't speak for Mike, but the same passion I had getting into it, what made me want to leave, I'm passionate about expressing like cultural changes that need to happen.
Yes.
Like anything, I mean, like in any industry though, you can be a fucking airline pilot and the things need to fucking change about this. You could be, in your industry, like, hey, these concepts are getting fucking huge. They're record breaking right now. And
Correct.
we're still, I'm not saying this, but like, let's say we're still doing these. Trust me, we need to start doing this. And you'd be pioneering that, trying not
Correct.
to have something bad happen.
Correct.
And it's just like that. I think that we take our love for the industry.
Yes.
And
Because you can't, well, you did a little better, but you really, as a cop, you're tied. You can't say things. The agency will they did it to me. I ultimately got ran out because I saw the bullshit and started supporting a different guy for sheriff. He lost,
steroids.
and well, that was the ultimate end of it. Steroids. Right? I was getting transferred to the jail because I didn't support the administration, and I finally spoke up. And what was funny is all the motherfuckers that came to me and were like, "You need to talk about this. You need to say this." They all just bailed on me when I left.
They didn't have the
Because
balls to do it themselves.
They didn't have the balls to say it, but also now the guy that they would call and be like, "Hey man, can you say this? This needs to be put on social media," and I would do it. They all just now they're not allowed to talk to me. But I agree with Tyler. Like now we can say the things that nobody else could say or wants to say, and try to bring some cultural change to cops getting screwed or shit that's stupid. And just it's really not a difficult job. It's really not hard. The hard part is the politics and the nonsense above. Usually the sergeant level above is where all the fucking morons are.
Right.
So,
John, do you film how far in advance so the open mic, we like break down the fourth wall and we talk about anything.
Yeah.
We talk about 99% of like things that you don't typically talk about on podcasts, but like, so we do like behind the scenes talk. Like, do you sometimes have to film like a large catalog of
Yeah,
content?
so I have 6 in the bank, and I haven't released it yet because I wanted to make sure I was onboarded. But like I record like 6 to 8 in advance just because I don't like doing stuff on the road per se. Now I have days off, or I'm in a hotel and stuff like that. I usually reserve that for if it's like a timely thing where this is the only time this person can do it. But I actually give that time to like doing stuff like this or other people's podcasts where I can just kind of like not put as much preparation to it because I know what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, I probably 6 or 8 episodes ahead of time. And I
don't even have one for this week.
well, you guys are also
none of us did.
Already on this network.
I don't have one for Copville, and we don't have any for counterculture.
Well,
Friday.
you guys are different a little bit because you guys are talking a lot more about current events. Now, obviously, I'll talk about certain stuff with guests, but a lot of my guests either, like one of my other ones coming up here. I talked to the actor Donald Gibb, who was in Bloodsport, Revenge of the Nerds, Ogre, and so people like that I talk to where I don't have to be specific with like current events per se, where you guys are always on it in terms of like something can happen 2 hours from now, World War III breaks out, or some cop, some fat slob gets run over by his own car, and that you guys are on it, where you guys have to be that type of show.
Yeah.
Because people want that type of thing, where I look more at the just talking to the people and asking questions that I don't think other people have talked about. Or if you're talking to an actor and then you realize that this guy's never talked about his time in Vietnam, and I talked the whole hour with someone you know from a band or a movie, and you think it'll be talking about whatever, some TV show, and you realize, fuck, you're talking about mental health, lack of leadership and stuff. So it's conversations like that. That's kind of where my bread and butter is. But like with you guys doing this type of thing, I love the current event stuff too. I just don't, with my schedule, I never want to put myself in a position where I need to do something tomorrow and I can't put it up in time.
That's where me and Tyler are right now. I was two episodes ahead, and now I'm I don't have one for Wednesday yet, but we'll have it. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, and so you also have your main podcast, right? That's
Yeah. So I have Spear Talk, and then last year I launched Taco Tuesdays, which is Eric Bass, the bass player for Shinedown, and that's actually more current events because there's no agenda. We just talk about whatever it is, from mental health to world politics to whatever happens currently. And then I have two other hosts, A Tale of Two Scribes, my buddy Eric Bishop, who's a thriller author, talks to other writers. And then I have Ode to Ghosts now, which is more of a paranormal ghost story type thing. And these are all just my friends that need a platform, and I love what they're doing. It's all original content, and I just kind of have fun with that. But I primarily focus on the Spirit Talk and the Taco Tuesdays.
Dude, are they on now? Who distributes the other ones?
I do all that stuff.
So it's on your channel?
So all that stuff will come through my feed.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Man, you're putting out a lot of content.
Yeah, it's like you guys, when you surround yourselves with people who want to be creative and be themselves and put out real, authentic content, it makes my job much easier because I have a rule myself where it's like I'll tell people before I start talking, hey, if God forbid something slips, you say something you want taken out post-edit, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But just know I have actually never done that in a single episode. And so all the guests have been, whether it's Aaron Brockovich or Boss Rutan or people that are polarizing in their communities, I'm able to kind of like, I know when a guest is about to say something they might regret. I can quickly change the subject or be like, hey, you sure about this? Like, I'm okay with it, but I want to make sure it's your brand.
Yeah.
And like, no, hey, I said it. This is who I am. And so it's it's just one of those things where I love it. And I've had a couple of people reach out to me that want to do something cool like that. But again, if I don't believe in like the people behind it, I don't need to waste the time helping them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people totally fine with the interview they did, totally fine with the long form, and then I clipped what they said. Now, to me, I think I'm not even kidding. I think I'm somewhat on the spectrum as far as like I think differently than other people. Not better or smarter. I just think differently. So to me, I don't know what out of context means. If I said something, you can take it. Trust me, from me personally, you can take it and put it without anything before it and after it. And I'm going to be
smarter and watch the whole talk.
I'm going to stand by what I said. Other people are like, you took that out of context because I'll clip it into a 1 minute thing. And they'll be take that down. I'm like, I didn't alter it. I didn't do anything. This is literally just you saying something. And they're like, it's out of context. It looks bad. And I'm like, man, so you're okay with me you want me to take the minute clip down, but you're okay with the long form content. You're like, all right, whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Which those reels, what entices people who might not be familiar with the guest or the conversation to actually watch the full thing. Because sometimes you guys have had reels where, I mean, I love all the Las Vegas shooting stuff was fascinating. And like, obviously you guys have talked about this stuff I love, but there's been other times where like, maybe that episode's not for me, but like, that doesn't mean the content isn't great. Maybe it's something I don't know enough about where I can't actually enjoy or understand what this reel's about. And I think people are so fucking lazy where they'll make those reactions, or even if it was a guest that says that, and you're like, well, hold on a second, man. Like, if this was a live forum, would you have answered the same way, or are you telling me you're not being truthful, or like, what are you trying to hide?
Yeah.
Morons. I deal with the TikTok cops like that too. They post their dumb shit. I repost it, and then I'm the bad guy. I'm like, you fucking already sent it. It was online. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
Yeah, but Mike, you don't
posted it.
understand what the purpose of that video was for. That video was to inspire.
I'm trying to catch Izzo. I think I'm up to 3 that have deleted their accounts completely, including Instagram and social media. So I'm
Such a
catching up.
bully, Mike.
I love it. Somebody's got to do it.
Mike, I think you have helped out Hialeah on her career.
I don't. She called me actually, and then I don't think she unblocked me. I got to check with I got to check with Kenny though, because Kenny follows every TikTok girl, so I got to make sure it's okay with him.
John, what's your? We got a couple more minutes left. You brought up the Vegas shooting a couple of times.
I'm going to drop off because I'm getting in a truck and we're about to be driving, and who knows if I'll lose you. So bye, guys.
Later.
You fucking got it.
You don't hang up on me. I hang up on you.
Yeah,
he was mid sentence.
The Vegas shooting, I'll stand by it. And it's hard to talk about because people did die. Tons of people were injured. People are traumatized. It like in your industry, that's something that touched like everybody goes to concerts, and now you can be heard at a concert. So it was really impactful, I think, to society. But I will stand by the fact that I heard talking crew serve weapons. There's no telling me that it wasn't talking as in crew serve. You know,
it's I could come on and get some more time to talk to you guys about this stuff, but like I had friends that were on that tour, and a lot of them on those country tours, and these are all Second Amendment. These are all law enforcement, military ex guys that guitar techs, whatever they are, stage managers. And a lot of them said they heard numerous types of gunfire. They found different casings than what was reported in the news reports. I actually had to get one of our clients is Ahmed Zappa, the Zappa estate family, and his secretary was there. We actually had to send in a crew to grab her off site. And it's one of those things where this always rubs people the wrong way when I talk about this stuff, because it's like, yes, there's a tragedy, but there's been other tragedies that have happened in the world where human life is just part of what the agenda is. Did I think Las Vegas was an inside job or not what they're telling us? 100%. I mean, you look at all the helicopter flight responder stuff and like the Saudi
you saw that too. The manifest,
the Saudi Arabia stuff, the hotel. My friend works at a hotel as a GM, and it's just stuff he can't really talk about certain things, but every time I talk about this, he racks how I know he's going to say it. And you look at all this stuff, and it's like I thought. This again, something like Sandy Hook or something like that, where the tragedy is the tragedy, but the agenda was Second Amendment gun control. I mean, at least for Las Vegas, it seemed like it happened at a time where there's a big push for all the Second Amendment rights and all the NRA, all this stuff. But like having people on the ground and seeing these reports, and I'm not talking about that fruitcake Dan Blitzer doing his bullshit.
Oh, I just saw that the other day. That was fucking. I never saw that originally, and I just saw it the other day. Somebody was doing the story on that.
Cloud. I honestly believe that event was used as a distraction to do something or handle a situation, whether it's a hit squad on some Saudi prince or whatever. There's just too many abnormalities, and the fact that we're talking about this, people will call us crazy, all this stuff. It's like none of this stuff lines up, and it's fascinating to me.
The difference between the Las Vegas shooting and a lot of other tragedies is that yes, there was an agenda post tragedy.
Yeah, of course.
No one's sitting. I don't know of anybody that's like, oh, Sandy Hook was our government. Well, a lot of these tragedies are just fucking psychopaths, but Las Vegas stands out because it was an agenda, something like at the pre part of it, like it was originally, supposed to be. So, I like you said, those the helicopter flight manifest, the images of the helicopters. There's a guy.
And you're gonna, like we talked about these fat slob dumpy people. You're telling me this guy that was a shooter was able to lug all that gear up. You can't even walk in the hotel with an open beer can, that hotel, without being stopped by concierge or someone. This guy's just wheelie-dealy pushing up a cart by himself. Like
Or
those
just-
hotel people are so good. They know they can tell you exactly what's in the luggage they're putting up on those carts. Just by the way it sounds, how heavy it is. And you're telling me this guy was allowed to get up all the way up there and do all this stuff. And the timing with the shooting and the reload time it would take to do all this stuff. It's like I'm sorry, but like that is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard of.
It's true. I mean, it is. And the fact that I think it was the first one where people were like, what? And then that's why they wiped it from the news. Gone.
Oh, 2 days
One
later,
day we just
tornado
woke
in
up.
Mississippi or some shit where it's
Yeah.
just
And there was no more Las Vegas shooting anymore. So
yeah.
what did that do to the industry as far as like that? I know that had to make it real for
Well,
artists.
it changed out the idea of when you do like these big shows, these outdoor shows or stadium shows, incorporating more sniper teams,
Yeah.
counter assault teams, people that can kind of react to type situations. Sight lines changed at festivals with access to stage or the crowd. It's unfortunate, like we talk about the Trump assassination attempt last year or whatever, last year, where it's like that doesn't happen unless it's allowed to happen. Like I've been in that world. You couldn't walk in there with your fucking pager without them being like, what the fuck is this? Or looking at your belt buckle. And you're telling me this is allowed to happen. So I think a lot of this stuff, and you said it best, when you actually clarified what I was trying to say in terms of like the idea of these events happening and then the politics incorporate that tragedy and start pushing an agenda, left, right, up, down, whatever it is. And I think people get caught up in that. But the fact that that was wiped within a week is the most fascinating. It's such a
truly
shame.
is. It might people might not like the word, but it's fascinating. Like if
It
I was
is.
an alien looking at how we operate, I'd be like, it's fascinating how fucking 3 billion people can just go, oh, it's old news based
Right.
off of what 2 news channels say.
Right.
You know?
And then you look at all the people they talked to and stuff that got scrubbed, or that security guard that ended up dead after he appeared on Ellen or some TV show where he offed himself mysteriously. And so it's like the fact I get more upset about this stuff because people are too dumb. They just take what the news is saying to them without doing their own research.
Well, how about this? This is fucking crazy. I think the second person in the world who invented an engine that can run on water.
Oh, yeah, he was killed.
Yeah,
It happened to be the security guard of some random department store shooter. And I'm like, I never really believed in the grooming, the
Oh, yeah.
CIA grooming until that kid's mom, if I remember correctly, this is allegedly, I never really saw anything official, but tried reporting the fact that she found government operatives trying to talk to him about doing stuff. And he
Yep.
was the one that went in and killed the one guy that was going to revolutionize, driving cars because people were going to lose a lot of money.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. Whether it's pharmaceutical stuff, you look at all these people, not Halliburton, but Boeing, and all these people that stuff happens, all mysteriously they're dead, or they've shot themselves behind their head, point blank, suicide, like a assassination. It's just, that's why I like when you watch all these movies and stuff, and it's a whole other rabbit hole. But like the pre-programming where it comes to like you see this stuff on TV or a movie, and it's actually happening in real life.
Yeah. What's your we'll end it on this. What's your take on Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington?
I
You
mean,
think they really did it?
no, I mean, I think there is I honestly think that people have talked about like where they're involved with breaking down like the pedophilia ring, like the human trafficking type stuff. But then you look at Kate Spade too, who was also involved with like these charity networks that were looking to help end human trafficking and stuff. So it's like I don't know if it just seems oddly weird. Now I know the both of them are both good friends, and Chester killed himself on the year anniversary of Chris Cornell in the same style. And so obviously mental health and drug abuse, but it just seems too weird how that stuff kind of happens. And obviously,
how can you be Chris Cornell with like a doctorate's degree or whatever and have successful career? And he wasn't even in You know, I can understand killing yourself in your prime because you can't handle everything, but he was well over.
Like he wasn't even at his prime yet. I mean, the legacy that guy could have still had and created is so Chester too, where it's just like mental health is a real thing. I think drug use plays into that. But what if? I mean, it's easy to talk about now because they're not here. But like, what if they were involved with something where they were going to start breaking the truth out? And then you look at all the Justin Bieber stuff now, what's coming out where he looks all fucked up, and he was as a kid, all that stuff coming out with the Diddy stuff, and it's just all that stuff where it's like, eventually the truth will come out, but at what cost of human life? Anyone that gets in the way of that is starting to get is. I mean, it's very tragic.
All right. Well, I mean, you fucking took it right to the hour. We try to keep it pretty strict on open mics. It's just a way for us to catch up. And you're our first. We were like, hey man, let's use open mic to reach out to people, you know. So I mean, I guess technically you're on the network, so now you're not really a guest. You're just one of the anchors, you know, that we routinely would have on. But I appreciate you coming on, man. And Mike, you got anything?
No, that's it, man. Appreciate it. Welcome aboard.
Right.
Love it.
We'll talk soon, John.
Yes, sir.
All right, later, guys.
95 Ocean, you have an open mic. Oh, 95 Ocean, open mic. Oh, 95 Ocean.